Well, hello everybody. Welcome to 1 week later, a new segment on my channel where I play a video game for about 1 week and then give you my thoughts and impressions. This week's game is Wizard of Legend, a roguelike title developed by Contingent 99. Now this title does contain local, multiplayer, and versus modes. Now I haven't had a chance to try it out, but I hear if you know a little bit of the internet magics with a third-party program, you can play online with a friend. So over the course of the last week, I put about 20 hours into this game. Now that's not all time spent playing. I did pause a few times and just kind of walked away, had to do other things. Now let's get into the gameplay. In Wizard of Legend, you are transported away to take part in some wizard trials. Now these trials consist of 3 different procedurally generated dungeons. There is a dungeon for each element, 1 fire, 1 earth, and 1 ice. And each one contains 3 levels, 2 normal, procedurally generated castle levels, and 1 final boss level. There is also a hub area where you can buy spells, artifacts, and different cloaks that will give you different abilities. Artifacts and spells can also be unlocked throughout the dungeons by killing certain enemies, beating bosses, and buying them from certain merchants that appear throughout the dungeon. When you start each dungeon, you can only have 4 spells and 1 artifact. You can pick up more spells throughout the game to a total of 6 with 1 in reserves. So a total of 7 in your inventory, but you can only use 6 at a time. The artifacts, you can get up to 8, and there are cursed artifacts as well that give you a boon and a curse at the same time. The dungeon order is random, but not the bosses. They will always be based on the level element type. So if I go to an ice level, I know I'm going to fight the ice boss. Same with earth, and same with fire. And as you proceed, the levels are obviously going to get harder, and so are the bosses. And now that that's all out of the way, let's go ahead and get to my thoughts and impression of this game. I really enjoyed this game. It takes a lot of patience to learn some of the enemy movements. It takes a lot of skill and kind of twitch reflexes to get out of the way. Fortunately, it's not a true roguelike where you lose everything when you die. You know, you always have all your spells that you've purchased and some of the spells that you've unlocked during the game. Now, one of the most important things about this game is finding a set of spells that works for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be set up on a particular element, although if you are using element of the level, some of the enemies are a little bit stronger to it. It will still hurt them, so you don't have to worry about doing 0 damage or healing another enemy. So really, you just gotta find a set of spells that works for you. There are cooldowns, so you have to keep those in mind. It's nice to get something that works with each other. You can use 1 item, and then the cooldown is done with the other item already by the time you're ready to go with your first move again. And you're going to collect gems throughout the game that you get when you finish the level. If you die during the level, you will also lose those gems that you have already collected in that particular level. So you really want to finish the level. Make sure you get to the end, back to the hub world where you can use your gems to purchase weapons, relics, and cloaks. I have still yet to beat the game. I've gotten all the way to almost the last boss, but got wrecked by the boss before because I just wasn't expecting some of the moves and had never seen them. With the enemies getting stronger, so do the bosses, and they gain more moves and more attacks that if you're not ready for, will ruin your day. For the most part, they telegraph them quite nicely so you can move, you can dodge, and get out of the way, and get yourself into a spot where you can attack them once they've finished their particular moveset. Now, I like to play the game when I got a little bit of time here and there. You can always pause it and walk away for a bit, come back. pick it up and keep playing, or you might die in the first level or two and be done with it at that point. I also enjoy the soundtrack to the game. It's a pretty nice soundtrack, not that you can tell here, as I've sped some stuff up just so it's not taking so long and we can get through it quicker and you can see the bosses. Now my favorite part of this game is easily just being a wizard, flying around, shooting spells, blowing shit up and killing things, doing a little bit of marauding, and of course there is always the misfortune that comes with a roguelike. Now as far as I can tell, once you've actually beaten the game, there isn't much reason to keep playing unless you're a collector and you like to collect stuff such as spells and relics. A lot of this game is learning what spells work best for you and learning the attack patterns of enemies, whether it be the mid bosses after each level or the big bosses after each third level. That means it takes a lot of experimentation for you to figure out what set of spells works best for you and what cloak you want to wear. Each cloak has a different set of buffs and sometimes debuffs, as well as figuring out which relic you want to take with you. You can only take one initially, but you can buy and gain more throughout the dungeons. One of the things I absolutely do have problems with is the buttons. The buttons are mapped to the regular buttons, X, A, Y, and B if you're using an Xbox controller. You can change what buttons they say, but you cannot change the actual buttons. So some of the spells are wrapped to left bumper and right bumper. A lot of times I'll miss the actual bumper and hit the trigger, which will just kind of open up the menu or just make me sit there. This wouldn't be nearly as big a problem if I could actually map the buttons where I wanted them. However, on more than one occasion it has gotten me killed. And truly that and the game being short are my only two real complaints about this. Otherwise, it has been a fun-filled spell-slinging adventure through the wizard trials. Currently, the game is available for purchase on Steam for $15.99. I did not pay that price. I had $9 in my Steam account already, so I used that along with another $6 or $7 to purchase the game. Would I recommend it at $15.99? It's hard to say. I've definitely enjoyed and got my $7 worth. But it all really comes down to what type of games you like. If you like a good roguelite where you face the same dungeons and enemies over and over again, then yeah, it's a great game. If you don't, I would go ahead and pass on this. Maybe if you can get it on sale, you can go ahead and give it a shot. Thanks for joining me, everyone. This has been 1 week later. And now you can enjoy some more boss fights and a little bit of the soundtrack.